Welcome, everybody, to the brand new Better Planner podcast. I am Taylor Stewart, and I've got Colin Page here with me. Colin, how are you?
Great, Taylor. How are you?
I'm wonderful. So, first episode, we'll just talk about what we're trying to accomplish here and who we are real quick. Um, we're both financial planners. We both have our own firms. We've been doing a podcast together for about 2 years called the Make the Most of Your Money podcast that's geared towards clients. I've had a great experience with that. Had a lot of really good conversations, but we also have a lot of conversations on our own about just being advisors, what it means to be a planner, the challenges, marketing, practice management, tech, all the different things. And then, of course, the actual planning and client communication stuff. And we thought, let's keep that going and have some conversations around that. So very excited about this. Thank you for joining me again on this journey. Anything you'd like to tell everybody about yourself or what you're hoping to talk about on here?
Yeah, I mean it's been mentioned off the bat you had to drag me into doing the Make the Most of Your Money podcast, and
Yeah.
That's been such a cool experience.
Mm-hmm.
Just putting ourselves out there, really honing a message, and it's been so clarifying for how I address certain topics with clients. It's been great, marketing and all that, but yeah, this is the idea for this Better Planner podcast that's flown out a lot of the work you're doing uh, on the side and in your practice, and just how thoughts we both have about how to run a successful planning shop.
Yeah. So I mean, I think one thing I'm like a little nervous about is calling it the Better Planner podcast. It's about becoming better. It's not that we are like the best planners at all. I think, we've been fortunate enough to figure some things out, have some success along the way, and definitely want to share that. But just like, we're just always trying to get better. And that's what the whole goal of this podcast is just to help all of us get better in all the different ways and try to be really, really tactical. Cause it's, just of what's really going on. Cause I have a lot of, so I, aside from the planning practice, run Cordora, which is a financial planning software. So I talk to advisors all day, every day, and a lot of things keep coming up over and over and over, and just want to centralize some of those conversations. And so that's what kind of birthed the Better Planner podcast. And I think no better place to start than I think the biggest issue I see with advisors. Almost every single advisor means super well. 99.9% of advisors get into this because they have a great heart and they want to help people. But they don't define what they actually do for clients. And so that's what I want to talk about today is getting clear on what you actually do for clients. Because I can tell you for me personally, that was the unlock. When I defined what I actually do for people, when I figured out what they actually want from me, that changed my planning practice at Adderall. That created the whole framework that has grown into Cordora since then. And it's just been freeing. Because it is so easy to get overwhelmed and feel like there's everything, all the tech, all the services, the deliverables, the service calendar, all the different things you should be doing. But once you're really, really clear on what you actually do for clients, I have found it just kind of melts away and is actually kind of freeing. And all of a sudden, it's like the Kits' tech map becomes exciting rather than overwhelming because you're only looking at like 5 or 6 things on there. So that's what I want to talk about today. Do you have any initial thoughts or like your own journey on figuring out what you do for clients?
Yeah, I mean it was a journey, and coming into this field as a career changer, like I didn't have experience on who I wanted to serve, and so like a lot of people, I think I took I'll help anybody, and the who can fog a mirror approach, and like put it more positively, like I wanted to get reps in. I wanted to like try a lot of different types of clients. I mean, everybody, niching down is all the rage. And there's a lot of value to that when you are trying to market and hone your deliverables and what you actually do for clients. It helps to have a very specific client in mind as opposed to just a general idea of what everybody wants. But yeah, I mean, early on I had no idea. Like I've been in an adjacent business. I worked for a hedge fund and managed money, but not in any way doing like financial planning, like
Personal
for the
finance.
households. Like, and so, yeah, I had no experience, no idea. I was searching for, what do I deliver to them? What tools should I use? What tech? And I think, some of that was just like, I had to go through that. Um, it's just part of the process or part of the learning curve. Um, but it's totally the wrong way to approach
Yeah,
it.
I mean, like that's crazy. Like, what tech should I use? What are you trying to do? Nobody starts here. And I think, even some of what you're talking about who to serve. You're still not like, what do you do for people? So, like, let me share my story on this because this might give a more concrete example. I've grown up around financial planning my whole life. My dad's been an advisor since the year before I was born. It's all I ever wanted to do. I've been doing it full time for 10 years. So, like, I've been around it a while. And I've used all the tech in my time and never really, I just knew I wanted to help people. So I was in this trap. And about 2.5 years ago, I was paying over $30,000 a year for tech. I would meet with clients and didn't show any of it. And I was like, what am I doing? I was like, oh, I need to have, I don't want to name names too much. Like risk class, this seems cool. Holistic plan, this seems cool. I need this for this conversation, this for that conversation. But nobody cared. And so I got really annoyed and I didn't know what I was doing for people. Let's meet. And it's like, because there's an infinite number of things you can do. And so I asked all of them, I said, what do you actually want from me? It was a little scary to ask some of them, but just what do you really want from me? And they all said, it was unbelievable, like different life stages and everything. We want to understand our financial life and know what we need to do next. And that was just so enlightening to hear in such simple terms with such simple consistency. I want to understand their financial life and know what they need to do next. I said, okay, what does that actually mean? What does it mean to understand your financial life? For me, that was, I determined that was being able to answer some core questions about their lives. Like, where's their income going? Are they on track for their goals? Some other stuff that I'm sure we'll talk about at some point. But then it's really about action. Like, what do they need to do? Like, they don't care about like, here's what your life will look like in 40 years if these certain things happen, but what do I need to do about it today? And so while it is kind of open-ended, understand financial life and know what I need to do next. I was able to, that's the filter I use for everything. Like, does this tool, conversation, visual, does it help them understand or identify what to do next? Or is it just, here's a chart? And I started cutting back pretty ruthlessly on everything. And so for me, that's where I landed. Like, projections are one where, I don't know, it doesn't help you understand. It's like, hey, if things go well, you have a lot of money. If things go poorly, you have less. Like, that wasn't helping them understand anything. And so it was analyzing their current life, seeing how on track they were. And then this whole, what do I do next? That's really, really what they cared about. And that has just been so freeing. Like I said, like, do I need this? No. If it doesn't help serve one of those two things for them or make my job easier in identifying those things and communicating them, then I don't need it. And so like all that has been the most freeing thing for me. And yeah, so I would get to pause there and see if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of went through this journey together of like paring down the tools we were actually using. And I remember sending spreadsheets back and forth to one another where we basically created, an income spreadsheet that just, here's your income sources, a spending sheet where here's where the money's going, here's how much is going to savings, how much is going to debt, here's how much is going to taxes. Like really breaking it down to just the bare bones or like the basics. And like using that as a conversation tool with the client was the most valuable thing. I had so many clients be so appreciative. They didn't want to see the fancy projections or, they didn't want all the bells and whistles. They don't care if you, tweak these assumptions. Like, I just want to know, like, where am I right now?
Yeah.
What's important? And like, usually the things that they need to do to change are obvious. When you break it down to the like the elemental level of like, where's your money going? Where is your money currently? How are you invested?
Yeah, I mean, you look at, okay, first of all, caveat, some clients, their answer to help them understand may be some of those more detailed, like, we don't need to make this all about projections, but some clients want that. Fine. And if that's true for you, then now you know. But I just want to encourage everybody, like, figure out what do your clients actually want. My strong guess, it's going to be probably understand financial life, know what to do next. Then you define what that actually means for your types of clients. But if you think, like, I think about, like, the time I would spend with traditional planning software. And I'm like, how do I get this home sale at retirement to model correctly?
Mm.
Doesn't freaking matter what is they need to, it doesn't change what they're saving today, really.
Yeah.
It just, it's like, that's a great example of, I don't care anymore. I don't
Yeah.
care. It doesn't change anything. Like if you sell it for a lot, you can save, it doesn't matter. And so like, yeah, I think, yeah, I don't want to go back to that world.
Yeah, I mean, I think just to like back it up and reframe it, like, you've used this analogy before, but like, say you want to start a restaurant because you like cooking, you want to serve people. I mean, I think in financial advisors are have they like spreadsheets and they want to serve people, they want to help people, um, and so like you go launch your restaurant, but you don't like open the doors before you've created the menu.
You,
You don't, you got to figure out like what kind of restaurant am I? Am I,
yeah.
high end, Michelin, going after those Michelin stars, or am I like a mass market? Am I fast casual? Like, um, you gotta kind of figure those questions out and understand who that customer is and who the customer you want to serve as before you can, go out and launch your restaurant.
Yeah. So we're both solo planners or small. You have some help now, but like smaller RIAs. And so I'm going to like paint it. You're talking about this restaurant. I think what I'm about to describe is very relatable. A lot of us are like, we love cooking and we love watching people enjoy eating. So we're going to open up a restaurant and we're going to cook for them. And we're going to be the cashier at the front. We're going to be the cook in the back, and we're going to be the busboy because we're going to do all of it. We don't want to hire somebody. And then while we're cooking, we're so excited that we want to show them, hey, here's the ingredients I'm pouring in. Hey, I'm adding a little bit more. Hey, I'm moving it into the oven. Hey, I'm pulling it out of the oven. Hey, we're showing all of our work and all that they cared about. They just want to come in and have a nice time, have a nice meal. But we're like, no, I got to show you my work. I love it. Don't you? Let me cook for you. Like, what do you want? Do you want something? I can make tiramisu. I can make pizza. I can make this. I can make sushi. I'll do whatever you want. I just want to help you cook. I want to help you cook. And we're playing all the roles. We're doing everything for everybody. And then we're trying to show I think that what I'm getting back to is like, what do you do for your clients? Like, they just want to have the meal, but we want to show them all of it. Can I prove to you how everything worked the whole time?
Mm.
Let me show you everything. And that's insane when you use a restaurant analogy, but I think that's what a lot of us do. At least when we
Yeah,
start out, we're like, yeah, I can do anything for you. I can make that for you. I'm going to show you. You want to see it? You want to see it? I mean, I just feel like that's exactly how I was when I started, at least.
totally.
And it's crazy when you say it that way. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and maybe it's a good analogy because sometimes some people sign up and want to see it all. Maybe it's a cooking class and they want to do it with you. But most people just want to have the food.
Yeah.
They don't care exactly how you made it or want to know all the way along the way. It's like, hey, is it any good? Am I good? Do I need anything else? Did I refill my water? Like that's it. And I think, yeah, just if that analogy resonates, then you're not alone.
Yeah. It's funny, not to twist the restaurant analogy, but like my wife and I have this concept we refer to regularly called the restaurant like curve of efficiency, and
Mm.
it's if you plot like quality on one axis and price on the other, there's an efficient curve along that. Like obviously, you go to a Michelin star restaurant, maybe like you can have the best meal of your life. You're also going to pay for it. Um, Now, if you can also like go to Chipotle, and if that's what you're wanting right now, like that's the best bang for your buck. And so there's a bunch of points on this curve of efficiency between them where like you can't get any better without paying more, or you could pay a whole lot less and get better quality, if you're at some place that's not on that efficiency curve. And so like I think this question like applies no matter what kind of like restaurant you are opening, like whether you want to serve like the mass affluent or like ultra high net worth, or like you want to serve, Gen Z folks that are just getting out of college and whatnot. Like there's a point on that efficiency curve where like you can charge anything you want, but it does dictate, like, of course, the trade-offs you make with the food, but getting really clear on what it is what it is that you are serving and how
Yeah.
you do that is
Yeah.
like how you create a great restaurant
Yeah.
at
And,
any price
and
point.
yeah. And I mean, that's a great conversation. And that's why you generally don't have a, Michelin star restaurant serving pre-made burritos. They're different models. They can both work, but they don't work together. And a lot of us like, I can serve the high net worth. I can do this. I can do that. So,
Yeah, you can't be
um,
all things to all people.
you can't be. And I think, I don't know, I'm sure we'll do another episode of this at some point, but like, I think a lot of this comes from an insecurity we all have to justify our fee. I've thought a lot about like, where does this come from? Like, we're boiling it down. I think a lot of that busy work is a feeling like we have to show we're doing something.
Mm.
And I just think it was a freeing change for me to say, they're almost paying me for not having to meet,
Hmm.
like the fact that like, we don't think that way, but it's like, that's what they want. It's like, no, like the less we have to talk, the better. Some people like the check-ins and that's fine. Use your nuance here, but like nobody wants to be drug in for a 90-minute meeting every quarter just because.
Yeah.
They don't have to. Some might want to again, but like, I don't know. Just think like, if you, to use my example, if my clients feel like they understand their financial life and they know what they need to do next, and those things are being acted upon, I don't need to force a meeting just because.
Mm.
It all comes back to because I got clear on what they want. If part of what they want is a quarterly meeting, a monthly meeting, whatever, then I would do that. But like, once you get clear on what you actually do for people, all of those decisions can start to melt away. And then you hear about an advisor doing something else and like, you don't care because it's not what you do for your clients, or you do care and now you can make a change. And so I don't know, I sit with that question. And if you have a relationship with some or all your clients, ask them, what do you actually want from me?
Mm.
I don't know. And not everybody's comfortable asking that question, but I just like, it changed my life in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think just the this is such a core question, and in a way, like you've got to go through a journey, and I think it's worth like you said, actually asking the clients, what do you want from me, or even sending out like a questionnaire or a review, like rate me, like what have I done that you valued, or what is extra. I actually haven't done that yet, and maybe I should take my own
Yeah, I think
medicine
this is good. We should
there,
talk about like
but
how to
like,
actually go about doing this. Like, yeah, you could
yeah,
do the survey. I think of no better way. Next time you're talking, like, hey, there's a lot we can do. Maybe with all this technology, but just what do you really like? What do you really want from me? What would make you feel like the most satisfied with our relationship? Like, just ask it. I don't know. I did. It was uncomfortable for like 4 of them, but then they loved answering.
yeah, yeah,
They loved it. Imagine like whatever service professional you work with, like lawn person, house cleaner, whatever. Say, what do you actually want? Oh, well, actually, I would love if you trimmed. Like, I don't just, you could give that opportunity for that feedback. People would love to tell you. And you could get pretty quickly like, am I on track? Am I not? Are they super needy? And they're not. This is one thing I'll tell you, like, on the software side of Cordora, feedback boards and emails. There's no question. I don't have to wonder what people want from me on that one. I get tons of feedback there, and it's kind of nice. But we don't get that we don't have a roadmap and a feedback board for our financial advisory practices.
yeah,
How else? I mean, yeah,
yeah.
just
That's
make that.
that's a great point. Um, yeah, I mean, I think you've helped me with this along the way. And you talk about, we've talked about this before, but like the 12 questions that
Yeah,
clients want answered.
yeah,
And so that's like the first part of your framework is like, what do they actually want? And sometimes clients don't know exactly what they want or need. And it's our job as like the professional still to like, hey, you may not have thought about life insurance. You may not think you need it, but look here, I see this is a gap in your plan, and here's how we should address it. But yeah, let's expand on that if you would. Like,
yeah.
what do you need to help clients understand about their situation? And
Yeah. Um, so something else pops in my mind as you were asking that though, that I think is relevant to this. So I I do think that almost every client's going to answer with some version of understand my financial life and know what to do next. Like that's, maybe they want to make more money. There's, depending on like, okay. Um, another, it's related to this. So is your job as an advisor to tell people what to do or to help them with how to think? I think that's
Mm,
another really important distinction to make because it affects like how I would answer these 12 questions. Because my what I tell people is I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to help you with how to think about the trade-offs you have to make and help you understand where you need to. I see posts sometimes on LinkedIn of like if a client doesn't follow your advice, fire them. That drives me freaking insane. Who the hell do I think I am that I know exactly what they need to do in all areas? Absolutely. You need this much life insurance. How can I say that? They make that decision because ultimately it's up to them. I mean, I can tell you, like, based on this, I think you need this life insurance. And that's me personally, that my job is not to be like this boss in the room that just says, do this, do this, do that. It's like, let's think it through. Here's what I recommend if you want to be able to do what you want. And so that affects how I would answer the 12 questions. And so I think the 12 questions are they're trying to be very principle based. So like, are you clear on what you want out of life? Where's your income going? What is your money being used for? That's like about, what do I own and owe would be a balance sheet. But then what is it being used for is like basically what is that money? Like, is it for liquidity, for retirement, it's for education? What is it actually being used for? Are you protected against major threats like disability, death, your insurance planning? Well, what you want to happen if you die or become incapacitated. That's estate planning. And I think that's been a freeing thing of like turning these things like not like let's have an estate planning checklist. Like what does that mean?
mm,
It's like we're trying like what is the question we're trying to answer? What is the outcome we're trying to prevent? And it's like I try to turn everything into a question, especially in Credora. Like what question is it answering? What decision is it helping your client make? Because it's not like you need a will. Why? Because you need to make sure your assets go where they want if you die. And so yeah, so I just going through more of the questions. How am I investing? So some of it's just understanding the lay of the land. And then some of it is then like, am I investing? Am I taking the right amount of risk? That requires you to kind of determine what you want. Um, is this what you were wanting, like going through at a high level or what else?
yeah. And also like, I think just like we've flipped we've reframed the question, what do you do for your clients to, what do your clients want you to do for them? I think we as the advisor have to be cognizant of like how deep the client actually wants to
Yeah.
go into these
Yeah.
questions too. Like, and so, you may have a client who's an engineer who wants to kick the tires on everything, or you may have somebody that still needs to be educated so they can make an informed decision, but they don't want to see how the sausage is made. And they want to, they are looking for more of a, just kind of tell me what I should do. How do you navigate that? Because I think some of us have a tendency to be like, well, here's everything. And
Yeah.
here's
Yeah.
like
You have to
why I
prove,
think,
you have to
explain
prove your
everything.
work. I think
Yeah.
there's layers to it. And so I keep coming back to Gradora here because that's my engine that I do all this in. And I was very intentional when we designed this that you can start extremely high level or you can go deeper if you want to. And so if you're familiar with Gradora, we have this changes to be made page that you can just list the changes that they need to make. And it looks like a task sheet. It's like accounts that need to be open and closed, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point. That's my financial plan.
Mm.
Point blank. There's not a number, there might be a number in it, but like it's not a dashboard, a chart, a metric, or something like that. That's the financial plan. We have all these other numbers. That's context to help them understand, help me identify. Most of them don't look at it. So if you looked at like my guide, my financial plan, it's a list of changes to be made, the where's my income going, what is my money being used for, financial objective and goal section. That's it. That's it. All the other components and everything, that's for me to be able to populate. And so when clients ask me like, or prospects ask me like, what's a deliverable? First of all, almost none of them ask for a deliverable. Some will say like, what do we get? I'll say like, try to go into as much detail as you need to feel like you understand your financial life and know what you need to do next. Here's where I start. If you need a little bit more, we can either talk through it. If you need me to print something off, I can. And you got to be careful there that like, you're not just saying yes to like, I'll do whatever you want for you, but like,
Mm.
I'm not going to force a the less is more, less is more, less is more. If I can not send them anything, if we can do everything on a call, that's the goal. That is the freaking goal. If they need an email, fine. If they need a deliverable, fine. If it needs to be a 2-page, fine. But I'm not starting with that. I don't have this need to be like, look at all this crap I can give you. It's like, no, do you feel like you understand your financial life and what you need to do next? Do you need to write it down? Okay, like that is the framing I use, and it's so freeing. Less is more, less is more, less is more. The less we can meet, the less I can give you, the less you have to do, the better. That's my goal. I'm trying to optimize for how little do you. It's not lazy. It's an efficiency thing. Like, just how do I do as little as possible? I don't know if I'm saying this the right way, but hopefully you get what I'm trying to say. Like,
Yeah,
less is more.
it's not about, taking shortcuts, but it's about focusing your time and energy on the things that actually matter to the client versus what you feel like you need to do to justify your fee. If you what is a job well done? If your client has a good understanding of where they are and what to do next, like, who am I to say, like, oh, well, you should have done more? Like,
Yeah,
that's the whole ballgame.
yeah, exactly. And this is like a pricing discussion, but we hear a lot about like, it's the same effort. Like why should I charge somebody who has more, some people, if it's like, I'm a flat fee planner, but like, doesn't mean the same fee for everybody. It's like, well, it's the same effort for a $500,000 client, a $5 million client. Why should I charge more? You're not being paid for your effort. That's the answer. Nobody's paying you for your effort. Nobody's paying you for effort. So if you can answer a complicated question in 5 minutes and charge $50,000, great. Like, just point, like, serious, like that. Where is this effort thing coming from? And like, this goes all way back in my life of like when I like started getting my head screwed on straight, is I was digging ditches in the summer in Oklahoma by hand for a gas line, getting paid $8 an hour, and I was mentally cussing out the contractor, who was a family friend. I was like, I can't believe he's taking advantage of me. And I said, holy crap, there's almost anybody on the planet could do this job. Nobody's paying me for effort. And your clients aren't paying you for effort. They're paying you for results. And if you can give them those results of understanding their financial life and knowing what to do next in 5 minutes, great. If it takes you 5 hours, great. Who cares? It's not about effort. Nobody's charging you for effort. And
what's
like,
that story? I want to say it's like ascribed to Henry Ford. They had a problem on the assembly line with some machine, and they called in the expert to like come figure out the problem. And he got on a ladder, asked for a piece of chalk, and said the problem's here. And then he walked out and sent him his bill, $10,000. And they're like, well, can you send him an itemized bill? Like, all you used was a piece of chalk. And so the itemized bill said like chalk, 25 cents, knowing where to put the mark, the rest of it,
exactly.
That's what you're being paid for.
100%. Surgeons, doctors, everything. It takes them 5 minutes to cut, knowing where and how. Like, don't punish them because they got really good at their job. Don't punish yourself because you got really good at your job. Like I understand that, like, there can be a weird perception. Like, it only took you 5 minutes. Why am I paying you for that? But if your result is actually meaningful, that's all somebody cares about. Like, I don't know, like, let's flip the tables. Like, you're hiring somebody and like, you just want whatever you need done. Like, you're evaluating a surgeon and you need your knee operated on. And I don't know, like, it's just like, you're not saying, how long is it going to take you? Like, it's just, is it going to work? Like, oh,
how many of these have you done before?
Let's say it costs the same, and one person does it in 5 minutes and the other takes 10 hours. Pay the 5 minutes. It's a badge of honor to be efficient in that sense. So, I don't know. That's total tangent there, but like, I just think like so much of this is a mindset thing that I see over and over. Not for everybody. You can tell the ones who have been freed of this, by the way. But there's just like, I'm going to charge a super low rate because I'm running a charity and I'm going to do everything for you. I'll say yes to everything you want. I don't really know what I want or what I do for clients. And that's a miserable place to be. That is exactly where I started. I was running absolutely a charity, doing insane work for an incredibly low price, and you can't do it.
Yeah.
And that's your restaurant example. And like, just getting clear on what I actually do, simplified how I interact with clients, the technology I use, what I listen to and care about. And I just genuinely hope everybody listening to this can get to that point.
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like for you, whatever that looks like. And if your answer is I meet with somebody every week and I give them a 50-page deliverable with detailed projections because that's what they want, great. But at least define it for yourself.
Yeah, I think that's, kind of the goal of this podcast, I guess. Share what we've learned, the mistakes we've made, the realizations we've had, not because we're perfect or
Yeah,
you
no,
know,
far from it.
but but um but yeah, I think if we can help ease the learning curve and give some, honest, thoughtful feedback to how to address certain areas of not only like planning, client facing work, but also like practice management, um, processes that you use in your practice to make, obviously the client and what you do for them and what they need you to do for them is the whole, it is like the most important part, but then how do you organize a practice around that to efficiently deliver on what the client needs, and then and still have a life in the process. I feel like, yeah, that's what we're setting out to do anyways, and hopefully
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
resonates.
Yeah, I put on the tagline on every like updated email I send to Cordora is getting better each day. Get a little better each day. Get a little better each day. That's all you can ever do. Yeah, we're not perfect at all. I'm a very flawed planner in a lot of areas. Learned a thing or two. I'm in a unique position to get to learn from a lot of advisors just in the role that I'm in. Yeah, we're all just trying to get better. So I think this has been great.
Yeah, well, episode 1
That's
in
right.
the bag.
Who knows what we'll talk about next time, but I'll see you there.
See you
See you
next
next time.
time.